Hello all. I am doing a bit of an intro here because I'm about to tear this apart and remake it. I got this for a couple bucks at a secondhand store, and you know, maybe like $4. It looks like somebody paid 50 cents at some point. It had rusty screws that I took out of the back, and I'm going to remake this in a less gaudy fashion. It's just plastic. I'm going to redo the clock inside, and I'm going to make it for my mantle because we're doing a bit of a redecorate. I say we, I mean me. So this is going to be for the Makers Creative Collab, and there's a bunch of wonderful artists that are involved in this hop. So there'll be a link at the end of the video, but I got to get to tearing away here, and I'll have more information for you coming soon. Okay, this is Cheran. I know I forgot to say that before, but I'm going to have to splice all these videos together. So now you know, this is Cheran from TextureJunkies. So I got this torn apart, and I used my heat tool because this was like a waxy hot glue. It was not normal like hot glue. It's from Taiwan, so whatever they're using. So I used my heat tool to chip away at that to get all the flowers out because they were really in there. There were even some dried ones in there. And the next step for me, I've given it a thought, and I don't want to take this part off because the clock is probably screwed on there with this bit in the middle. But then this is a sticker that they've put down over the top, and I don't want to ruin that. So what I'm going to do is cover it with plastic wrap very carefully. I might put, you know, like something to lift the plastic wrap up so I don't squish these, but they could be bent back. And I'm not going to treat the inside of it yet until I figure out how this is going to look. I'll do that bit last to match. So what I'm going to do with this is take it downstairs, give it a scrub. I have a tool room that I have full of spray paint and stuff. Oh, I didn't even notice that hole there. Maybe I'll utilize that in some way. And then I'm going to give it a solid coat of spray paint for a base. Now, none of that might show in the end, but I have some copper spray paint, and I think it would be a good start so that that's underneath, because I think I'm going for a copper patina. We got a new rug that's a little bit, my husband looked at it and said, it looks a little medieval. So I have a lot of Buddhas and crowns and things like that I've always had the Buddhas. The crowns just started coming in. Like I have a big iron one that's just giant and awesome. So I'm kind of going with that, you know, like this has been around for ages. It's going to get lots of textures and techniques, and hopefully this will be my very first fast forwarded video because I'll be sharing some of those with you, in a lot of little mini videos that we will put together to make hopefully a short one in the end. So I'm off to the tool room now and to the spray paint. I'll see you soon. Okay, so here we are. I took the clock out, I spray painted it copper, and I'm going to give it that look of patina, though I don't want it to look flat like just two colors. So I'm going to try to make it look as natural as possible. And I have some liquid gesso here because it's got a little bit of grit to it, and I thought it might be a welcome sort of texture. I've got some black paint, and this will tint and tone the colors that I have here as well, which doesn't really work with a metallic because it loses some of its sparkle. I'm almost out of my metallic antique copper paint here. Both of these are almost empty. I don't know how that happened. Probably had one upstairs and one downstairs. But I do have pigment powders, and I have alcohol ink. I might like the liquidy alcohol ink to drip down. I do have some sort of tealy color here that's like a patina. I have some Azo Gold that might end up, you know, kind of in a mix if I make a palette of several of the bluish color. I have a little burnt sienna that might help too, but these are all just for me to have a play with. And then this is house paint. It's like interior paint. And I had a gallon of it. It's really good paint, and I've actually made texture paste with it. I have put it in a bunch of little jars like this so that I have them handy in my tool room downstairs and here in the art room. And I use it a lot. And it's just house paint, you know. I use it to mix with stuff. You just have to be careful what kind if you do that. If you find a color you like, you don't really want it to be like latex unless you're using products that will mix with that. So I am going to mix up some colors, have a bit of a play, and I actually went to Pinterest to see how, because I've made copper patina so many times, but this has so many ridges on it that I really want to see if, you know, what areas might get the most blue and get like an authentic look for it. Maybe add the bits of white with a sponge, or, you know, to give it that mottled sort of texture-y effect, and just make it look like it's out of a medieval castle, I guess. It's going to be fun. I love doing this kind of stuff, and I use my fingers a lot, but I also have my paintbrushes out. I have more. I have some larger ones, but I figured that's big enough for me to get some wide coverage, and then I'll go over it with a paper towel to get down in the grooves, and then a medium and a small for detail. So I'm going to have a play now, and I will see you soon. Hey, y'all. Okay, I got my paint on, and then I decided I was going to visually separate the lions out here and play with some alcohol inks. And I put a color on there just to see if I liked it. It was the patina. And I might go with a rust for the, I've got it upside down, you're not seeing things. I might go with a rust, visually separating the lion, and rust this out. But I'm going to play with the alcohol inks first, and then I'll decide. Because that's a whole different patina adventure. I do like where the lions are. I might get some gold leafing out because I did try a little aloe would be great. Alloy on the wings, and I think I really like that. So I might get a little bit of some gold out to do some gilding. So we will see, just, you know, like a tiny bit to add some extra bling, like maybe it was gilded and it got worn off, or, I mean, it doesn't have to look like anything old in the end. It has to look cool and sit on my mantle proudly. So I really like the direction it's going, and I will see you shortly. Okay, this part I am satisfied with. Let's get a little look-see there. Look-see. The wings are gilded. Paint has been added. Alcohol ink. Loads of pretty pretties looking like a patina. But now I'm going to take this part away. I'm going to go through my bin of painted papers, gel prints, things I've altered in general, and see how I want to treat the inside. Only the actual inside of the clock shows, so I don't need to do anything with these edges, and I don't want to mess up the housing of the clock. So here we go. I'm about to do the inside. Hey, I think this is the 7th installment in the process of this clock. I was in a bit of a conundrum because, you know, I hate math, and it's a lot of hard math. Getting the paper in there without messing up the clock and making it fit in all these little tight areas right here. So I thought long and hard about this. about how I wanted to change the back of that. So it has gesso, and then it has like an antique paper sort of color painted on it. But I was thinking maybe I would use little torn pieces of book page, but still can't get up in that area. And I'm really trying hard not to mess up the clock itself. I'm trying not to touch it. And it is raised. See that? It's raised. So what I did last night before bed was add a layer of Crackle Paste. And it's real thin. I used a paintbrush in some of the areas, and mostly I scraped it on. But now I've got these, all of my reds and yellows, and there's some of the sparkly, like, I can't think of what it's called right now, the pearls, alcohol inks, all in those sort of rusty colors. I may or may not like it, but it's when we have to think about something that isn't working the way we wanted that we come up with something new, and or something we really like. So I'm going to have a play with this. I originally was thinking these were going to go around the edges, and that was why the paint. I still may add those, but it might be just too much difference. And I'm going to have a play, and I will be back with you shortly. Captain's log, day 46, and I'm out of coffee. No, in all honesty, this was such a fun project to do. I've had this sitting in my tool room for so long, ready to be altered, and I just knew it had potential. I laughed, I cried, I changed my mind several times about what I was doing, and I love this result. And it's really gonna go nicely with my big giant iron crown, I think, on my TV stand. I didn't screw it together yet because I wanted to share. And of course, you'll be able to see loads of pictures over on the Facebook group, Happy Paper People. Please take a moment to like the video. I've had to splice 7 together by the end of this. I think 7. And that's a first for me, but I needed to make it a quick video, and this was such a long process, really, and there was a lot of mind changing, you know, because that happens. It evolves when we make things and when we get into it, and I was really into this and passionate about it, and I let it tell me what it wanted as I went along. And I had to do some problem solving, which is really good for my brain and yours too. Please also take a moment to subscribe and comment below to be entered in the 200 subscriber giveaway, because you know I started over my channel. We had a channel that we did together, and now we're having separate channels. So you'll find a list of my tutorials down on my page, and they're previous Happy Paper People tutorials. But we're just going to be doing some different things, so and be able to give more content. I used a lot of things from the list, but the one thing I didn't use that I thought I was going to end up using was paper. But I want to show you this because I haven't put it together yet. And remember, this part didn't show, so it didn't matter. Let's do that. I'm going to pull this up here. So here I used some resin pieces that I had on hand that I previously made. There's some jewelry bits, and I, of course, painted these to match the lions. And I decided on this orangey color with the alcohol ink because it's a nice contrast with the sort of patina turquoise. I really did enjoy this project. This is a hop, so you'll want to click the link at the end to follow along in the loop and see all the other great makes from the creative and diverse group of artists in the list. So I hope you enjoyed this video, thank you for spending some time with me, and come back for more process videos and shares along the way. You can check out my Instagram at TextureJunkies and check out those Facebook pictures in the Happy Paper People Facebook group. All right. Thank you so much, guys. You have a magical day. Bye-bye.